personalities of the rhino conservation with the theme of conservation success and challenges with respect to Asian rhinos. Myself, Devakumar Dutta, and I'm working as a member of Asian Rhino Specialist Group, as well as also I am the member of that this I don't know. And today we have as four group of panelists. I would like to introduce Dr. Bibhav Talukdar, the chair of Asian Rhino Specialist Group, and Dr. Naresh Subedi, member secretary of National Trust for Nature Conservation Nepal, and Dr. Einav Saxonov, International Rhino Foundation Indonesia Program Director, and Dr. Sunali Ghose, Field Director, Kaziranga Tiger Reserve, as well as Asian WCPA Regional Vice Chair, Southeast Asia. So, welcome you all, my dear panelists, for these discussions. I would like to ask a couple of questions, and just all of you, and you can present yourself through your images or slides, as well as also short videos. And we have very limited time, and therefore just you only get only the 3 to 10 to 12 minutes each for these questions. So right, because we have very short time, therefore I would like to come to Dr. Vibhav Talukdar, and he is leading the Asian Rhino Specialist Group and last several decades on the rhino conservations. So I have a few questions, but first I would like to ask you two questions. What are the key responsibilities that government and international NGO must take on to ensure survival of Asian rhino species, especially in the rapidly changing global environment? And my second same line of questions: how can international conservation organizations and local communities collaborate to mitigate these things? So over to you, Dr. Talukar, please.
Okay, I think before giving that particular answer, I would just like to share means the overview uh, of the rhinos. Just for our audience. Of course, our audience are, I can see they are all well accustomed with the rhinos. But this is the latest state of the rhino report released by the International Rhino Foundations. Out of the 5 rhino species, you can see the populations are in some areas it is increasing, in some areas it's decreasing. In terms of Asian rhinos, we have 3 species. So greater one horn rhino population is about over 4,000. The Javan rhino is 76 as per the official estimations, by the Indonesian government, and the Sumatran rhino population is 34 to 47 as estimated by the Asian Rhino Specialist Group. So that's a glimpse, about our rhino population. And this is, in terms of the greater one horn rhino, the current distribution range of the greater one horn rhino. Of course, the majority of the rhino populations are
Yes.
found in Assam, but then Kaziranga and the Chitwan and other rhino-bearing areas in Nepal too is also having almost 750 plus rhino populations. Now coming to your questions in terms of Asian perspective, the rhinos are basically found in the government reserves, and government is the ultimate custodian of of the rhino and the national parks and the protected areas. So at such, I feel that in Asian context, the role of the government is very crucial. Government has to lead, and we have seen the government is leading in rhino conservation, and we are quite we have seen a drastic positive trend in increasing rhino population in case of greater one horn rhino. With regards to your questions, the collaborations, international agencies, I think international organizations can definitely complement the effort being initiated by the ranch countries. They can, where needed, they can bring expertise whenever the needs arises. They can also help with the local organizations to carry forward a conservation awareness. So I think collaboration partnerships are always, very good in order to secure, the rhino population and the habitat. But as I mentioned, in Asia, there is no private, property that is allowed to keep, the wild rhinos. As such, the government has to take lead, and I think that's something, will give a very positive result, and we have already witnessed this in case of greater one-horn rhino in India and Nepal.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Talukdar. And we have another two couple of my panelists yes to join in our discussions. So Dr. Sonali Ghose is here. She is the field director of Kaziranga Tiger Reserve as well as Ayusian WCPA South Asia field director, South Asian vice chair. So I would like to come to Dr. Ghosh and would like to request questions regarding the as a global leader in Greater One Rhinoceros conservation. And what key message would you like to send to the world regarding the protection and the future of the species? Dr. Ghosh, are you able to hear my questions?
Thank you so much, Dr. Debodatta, and thank you everybody to join in. As we speak, we just concluded a very wonderful Global Rhino Day program back in Kaziranga, and it was really nice because we had two, ministers, cabinet rank ministers in of Assam and the member of parliament. They had presided over, and it was a conservation collective because we had communities, we had civil society organizations, we had the local media, everybody had pitched in. And in the morning, of course, we had the Honorable Prime Minister of the country, the Honorable Chief Minister of the country, of our state, Assam, had also tweeted and posted, conservation messages for rhinos, which has been a great support to us. So, coming back to your question in terms of that, what are the key messages? I think Rhino being the nation's pride, being the pride of Assam, being the pride of the people, has been one of the key achievements that I think we have had over the sustained manner that we have had for the last 40 or decade, years of conservation. Kaziranga, of course, it takes pride in being the jewel of in the state and the country for having at least 80% of now the population in India for the greater one-horned rhino. And if I see the conservation history of rhinos in Kaziranga, from a mere 400 square kilometers to now over 1300 square kilometers, there has been a systematic and addition of inviolate areas which are truly rhino habitat. So that has really helped in protecting and giving a true habitat for the rhinos. Other than that, the investment in the foot soldiers, that is what we call as the forest frontline, has been remarkable. I was reading somewhere that when you look at parks in Africa such as Serengeti or and Kaziranga, we have one foot soldier per 5 square kilometer compared to one in 30 square kilometers in the African parks. So in terms of the patrolling, in terms of the surveillance, in terms of having invested in the people on the ground has been the remarkable achievement for Kaziranga, and I'm proud to be part of that team, which has become truly now laudable across the globe. Other than that, of course, I think when we look at rhino vis-a-vis the other animals, the large mammals such as elephants, which can likely to be in conflict with people, I think rhino is one species which I think will be able to survive with people, because it's one of the least in terms of the conflict aspect. I think the only threat that rhinos would have is the poaching threat, and if we are able to take care of that, I think we'll be good with the management. And just to give an idea of how we have been celebrating the Rhino Day and what are the different achievements we have had in the last 1 year, 1 or 2 years. I will request Miss Amrita if she can play a very short video. It's just 2.5 minutes, and it gives a sort of a snapshot on all the activities that we have taken.
Thanks, Dr. Ghosh. Yeah, Amrita, please play this video.
Yeah, can you please tell me if it is audible in the first?
It
Yeah,
is
yes,
not, I think. Is it audible?
No, we can
yeah,
hear the
you're
I
audible.
voice
can't.
of
You're
Amrita.
audible.
Yeah.
Is it audible?
No.
Yeah,
No, it's not audible. No, I haven't played it yet. Yeah.
Your voice is
you're
audible,
audible,
but not the
Amrita.
video.
Amrita, please.
Maybe it's not showing right now.
Okay, okay. Then you please try, and before just you try it. Then I would like to come to again, Dr. Ghosh, another question that in relation to challenges. That what are the main conservation challenges that Kaziranga Tiger Reserve faces today? And how are you addressing them? There are different kind of challenges, not only bossing, but the multiple and numerous challenges you faced for the conservation of the entire Kazirunga landscapes. So what are the major challenges you are tackling right now, Dr. Kus?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Debo. I think in terms of when we talk about challenges, as I said, the poaching threat, is still on top, is a priority for everybody. It can make or break governments. In a sense, it's a political matter. It's the pride of this having at least 3,000 odd rhinos now. I think the poaching aspect becomes the key challenge, and unless the buying stops, unless the cross-border trade, the illegal trade to outside the country is happening, I think it will remain a challenge for rhinos for sure. The other aspect, which could, but I would not call it as a challenge, but it's something that we need to think about, is what happens when you have good conservation. So, for example, now we have over 3,000 easily the rhinos in an area of 1,300 square kilometers, and they are concentrated in certain areas. In some areas they need to have a better habitat, but their range is expanding. So we have had issues, or we've had instances of rhinos going up to Majuli, going eastwards. So which was their original habitat, and now they are, moving towards that. And it could be range expansion, it could be, aspects of population increase, it could be better habitats, and so on. And that in the coming years must be addressed, because we would need to, secure better areas, but then there is a limit to how much we can do in terms of having secured inviolate areas. So we need to have sort of plans and policies for how can we can have areas, protected areas, with communities, with the community engagement, so that like as I said, that the rhino has better chances, higher chances of being living peacefully and with coexistence with local communities. So that
Yeah.
I think is something that we need to look at. Other than that, of course, the floods, the erosion, but then these are all in climate related events, and we really do not have an answer right now. But what how it is impacting, whether we have a great good flood, or a high flood, or high erosion, these are all something which needs to be studied to understand whether there has been an issue of that. So these were my few.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks. Yeah, you actually Kaziranga overcome a lot of challenges, and therefore Kaziranga is here, and proud to be almost 62% of the greater one populations in Kaziranga landscapes. And right now, I would like to move to that our two counterparts of the Asian species, that Sumatran and Javan rhinoceros. And I actually these questions are prepared for the I know of Saxony, but because he is unable to join due to some technical reasons, I'd like to come to Dr. Bibhav Talukdar for some of these questions related to Sumatran and Javan rhinoceros. So my one question, first questions for Dr. Talukdar. What are the most pressing threats currently facing the critically endangered Sumatran and Javan rhino in Indonesia? Can you hear Dr. Talukdar, please? Can you address these questions for these discussions? Yeah.
Okay, I will try to give answers. Unfortunately, enough Sectionov so far could not join. I think he has just joined now. So anyway, he will supplement. But I think the critical threats to the Sumatran and Javan rhinos are two. One is poaching, and second is also habitat fragmentations. Okay, Sumatran rhino itself is having issues with the breeding to some extent, but I think the habitat fragmentations, especially in case of Sumatran rhino, is one of the major threat. And then the poaching, and this is such a dense area, even to detect the carcasses is a challenge. So now we are fortunate that Enob, who is actually from Indonesia, has been working there, has joined.
Yeah.
So I think it will be good for him to speak about the perspective, because he has the more first-hand
Yes.
knowledge.
Yes. Yes. Great. Great. Welcome.
Thank,
Welcome. Thank you, Dr. Talukdar. Also, welcome.
finally.
Yeah, finally you joined these discussions. So already we have addressed one questions regarding the pressing threats of Sumatran and Javan rhinoceros of Indonesia. And I have a couple of questions. But first questions to you: can you share some of the recent conservation successes for the Sumatran and Javan rhinoceros? Because it is critically endangered, but still there are a lot of the conservation stories, positive stories. So can you share some of the positive stories for our greater audience for these discussions? Yeah, over to you, Tom.
Thank you, Deborah. Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, yes, you're audible.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. That is, despite that we still have a poaching activity for Javan and Sumatran rhino, but we have a successful a program for these two kind of species. That recently that we have a proven of the born of the Javan rhino this year. This five Javan rhino was born this 2023 and 2024. I think there's some
Okay.
that probably I have. Can we show the video, Deva?
Uh,
Can we
uh,
show the video? So
Mr. Anop, do you want
Amrita,
me to
can you
share
show
your
the,
slide?
the video that yes, that's the third slide. The third slide, please.
Yeah, just give me one.
Sure. Yeah, this is population of the Javan rhino before the announcement 26 of the Javan rhino being killed. This from the 1990 2019 2023 was the 70. There's a third slide, please.
Yeah.
The third one above the third one. Yeah, this one. Yeah, here this year the government of Indonesia has announced five Javan rhino. This is the last one beside the four Javan rhino. That this is the fifth one that we found this year. So I don't know the total of Javan rhino right now, but from the state of rhino that we have right now, that we have the 50 individual of Javan rhino in Ujung Kulon National Park. Can you move to the next slide, please? And then this is yeah, please. This is a Sumatran rhino. This is a successful of the Sumatran rhino that we have. This is in Sumatran rhino sanctuary, the one and only Sumatran rhino sanctuary that produce of a baby rhino. That we have a five calf at that location, a natural breeding. And then this is a glimmer of hope for the Sumatran rhino. This is one of these successful program of the Sumatran rhino that we have been trying since 1996, and now we have a totally ended facility that sustain individual right now. So that is one of these this kind of the successful program for the Javan and the Sumatran rhino. Back to you, Deva. You can stop the screen, Amrita. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks. I will. I again come to you, enough. And right now, I would like to welcome Naresh Subedi, the member secretary of National Trust for Nature Conservation Nepal. So I have because Nepal have a very excellent example of the determinal rhinoceros conservations, and we have some of our audience. Andrew Laurie also here, one of the most veteran scientists on determinal rhinoceros. Also, we have since welcome also Andrew Laurie here. And Mr. Dr. Subedi, I have a couple of questions regarding the Nepal's rhinoceros conservations. And the first question is that what lesson can other countries learn from Nepal conservation strategies, especially in balancing rhino protection with community development? And can you hear me, Dr. Subedi?
Yes, please, please. Yes, I can hear. So I think
Yeah,
I can use my slide. Can I go on the
sure,
slide
sure,
actually?
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just
A
share your
small,
slides, Miss Dr.
yeah,
Naresh. Is
slide.
that okay?
Yeah, yeah, please. So you can go on slide number slide number 6 directly actually.
It's okay.
Slide number 6. So when actually, so the rhinoceros is a conservation dependent species wherever they are. So Nepal has done a amazing job actually. So we used to have less than 100 rhinos back in 1966, and through the commitment of the government and through series of interventions, the population, we are able to bring that population from the brink of extinction to the surplus animal now. So we have currently more than 750 rhinoceros. So it is because of multiple reasons. So I have other couple of slides. You can go next slide actually. Uh, Next, Amrita. Yeah, I can slide number 10.
Slide number 10. All right. Yep.
Yes, yes. So when we established the Chiton National Park at that time, so we used to have a lot of pressure from the communities inside the park. So what we realized that if we would like to protect the national park, we need to develop the alternative resources to the communities outside the national park. So we started some project in 90s. You can see this is outside the Chiton National Park. There are two small patches that we restored, Bagmara Community Forest and Kumroj Community Forest. So we piloted a small project of restoration, and later on, after the restoration, we linked that restoration project with nature-based tourism. So these two community forests, there are series of other community forests right now, but I give you only two examples here. Bagmara Community Forest, just outside the national park, has only 200 hectares, and the Kumroj Community Forest is around 700 hectares. So last year they earned almost $1 million from the tourism. They don't cut down the trees. So they use the jungle safari, canoe, elephant riding, jungle walk, bird watching. So all the money the community forest owns, and that directly goes to the local communities. So this is a greater incentive to the local communities to be involved in rhino conservation or biodiversity conservation. And these two showcase program are actually successful showcase, and currently this model has been replicated in 25,000 kilometers square of Tarag landscape, where we have series of community forests like these, and we are trying to link the restoration project or biodiversity conservation projects with the local economy. So that model is actually helping us to develop the local stewardship on rhino conservation. So this is one of the success story we would like to share. And then you can go on my second slide, or third slide actually. Third slide. Uh, So yes, we are very good on bringing all the stakeholders on conservation. So our protected areas are guarded by our regular army, and outside in the buffer zone we have the local communities and local youth, and we have formed the community-based anti-poaching units. And outside the buffer zone there are forest areas, corridors, connectivities. They are managed by Department of Forest and the local communities. And there are Nepal Police, Department of Customs, Attorney Generals, and conservation organizations like NTNC, IUCN, and a lot of other organizations. So what the Nepal did, Nepal actually brought all these stakeholders in a same page on conservation. And we have this Wildlife Crime Control Bureau that connects people to the from people to prime minister or chief of the nation. So that sort of mechanism is currently very effective. And conservation agenda, which was agenda for conservationists in the 60s or 70s, has now become an agenda for nation. So these are I think so we have done a lot of other things as well. So these are the things where you have a strong political commitment, and where you have a strong component of public engagement, and where you have a strong desire to restore a landscape and manage the population in a meta population approach. That works very well. So these are the lessons actually I would like to share with the global communities. Thank you, Deva.
Thanks, Naresh. I have another one simple question, both of you and Dr. Talukdar. that India and Nepal, you have some collaborative conservations program, means both transboundary related things. Can you highlight some of your thoughts regarding the transboundary conservations and in between? And I would like to request again Dr. Talukdar for transboundary conservation in between India and Bhutan. First, Dr. Norris, please.
Yes. So thank you, Deva. So our all rhino bearing protected areas are connected with protected areas in India. So our Chiton National Park that has around 700 rhinos is connected with the uh, Valmiki Tiger Reserve in India. So the Chiton National Park is becoming a source population for Valmiki, for tigers, rhinos, and couple of other species. So in India side, in Valmiki is also coming vigorously, and we are doing very good in that central landscape of Nepal. In the Western Tarai, we share Sukla Phanta and Bardia National Park in Nepal side, and you have this Katarnia Ghat Wildlife Sanctuary, Dudua, this Tiger Reserve, and couple of other reserves. They are connected through the corridors. So in that corridor as well, our rhino population is actually moving between India and Nepal. Currently, we have around 7 individuals. They are moving in both countries, the rhinos. So we have a very good cooperation at local level. So whenever the rhino they enter India, the Indian authorities take care, and whenever the animals they come back to Nepal, Nepal authorities and the local communities they take care. So we have established a very good connection and collaborations between two countries. So I think especially in the Western Tarai landscape, where you have around 30 plus rhinos in Dudua National Park, and we have also around 40 plus rhinos in Western Tarai. So if we open the sanctuary and add a little bit, more rhinos in that landscape, so we have a great opportunities to protect the rhinos in that Western Tarai landscape in a transnational approach. So that I see a greater opportunity again in the coming days between India and Nepal and in rhino and other species conservation. Thank you, Deva.
Thanks. Because this is quite important because animal they don't know the international border because they covering entire areas. It's a quite a fantastic biodiverse areas. So I'd like to come to Dr. Talukdar regarding the transboundary related concept because Bhutan also wanted some of the rhinoceros because they also declared some of the rhino populations in that area. So, can you highlight some of your thoughts in these discussions? Yeah, over to you, Dr. Tucker.
Well, yeah, thank you. I think the rhino population does move in between the Manas National Park in the Indian side and the Royal Manas National Park in the Bhutan side, since it's a contiguous habitat. Now, of course, because we lost all the rhinos during the bad phases in 1990s because of the prolonged socio-political unrest. But when under the Indian Rhino Vision 2020, rhinos has been put back into Manas. I think some of the rhinos are still, two, three rhinos do sometimes goes to the Bhutan part and comes back. One of the challenges in Bhutan is that the grassland habitat is very small, so they won't probably roam there for a longer time because they will again come back. But I think this is a good approach because the contiguous habitat in case of say high flood or something, in case Manas is not a flood prone area, but maybe because of different reasons, if it is flooded, they can take shelters in the hilly areas if possible. So I think that collaboration understanding is important, and there is already the from Manas Indian part of Manas and Bhutan part of Manas, there are collaborations going on, understanding going on transboundary collaboration. But I think for rhinos to be put in Bhutan, it needs to be discussed at the government level. But without government level, also, if rhinos wants to move, they can move. There is no fencing, nothing. So I think when they see the opportunities, they want to explore that areas. Rhinos keeps moving towards the Bhutan side.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, definitely. So right now we have one our most honorable guest, because Andrew Laurie is here. You have seen, and welcome, Dr. Laurie, in our discussions. So I would like to request to Dr. Laurie to say something about today's discussions about the overall conservation of greater one rhinoceros, Sumatran, Javan, as well as the all African counterparts. Over to you, Andrew Laurie, please. Can you hear?
Yes, I can. I'm just
Can you hear me, Laurie?
unmuting myself.
Yeah.
I'm, as you know, I worked in rhinos many, many years ago. And a few years ago, I visited Kaziranga again, and I met Dr. Biba at that time. I'm not really familiar enough to give you give you my well-informed opinion about what's happening now. I did, but for example, Kaziranga, I didn't go to Nepal when I went there a few years ago. I haven't been back there since I stopped working there many, many years ago, although I would like to. And I'm not so busy with some other things now. I have been working in Mongolia a lot, where there are no rhinos. But one thing about the Kaziranga that struck me is that we need a different kind of view of a protected area there, because the river shifts itself. It goes south, it goes north, and if you lose it on the southern bank, it appears on the northern bank. And yet legally you get almost stuck with the mark, like a GPS mark, and it may become very small. And I wondered, this is a question to the Assam people and Sonali maybe, is there a way of establishing a kind of moving protected area? Because that seems to be what it needs. It's not it just sitting in the same place. You may end up with just sandbanks, and it seems that now is the way to. I mean, I'm exaggerating a little bit there, but that was one thing that struck me when I went back last time, because of the big changes in the riverbed that I had seen. And so it's not really an overview of the problems, but it's something which I thought might be interesting to consider. So I'll say something else in a
Thank
minute,
you.
but maybe get a reaction.
Sure, sure. Yeah, thanks, Laurie. And yeah, please, Sonali, Dr. Sonali goes, can you address Dr.
Yeah.
Laurie's questions?
Yeah, no, thank you there, and Dr. Andrew. And I was also reading your question in the chat box, so I'll answer that one first. So that we were constructing artificial highlands in Kaziranga, and what is your assessment now after the years on the pros and cons of that intervention? I think we have around 150 highlands now in Kaziranga, and this year, our floods was one of the highest since 1991. We had one of the most severe floods, and it came in a flash. We just didn't get time to prepare. It came on the July 1st, and by second or third, the entire park was inundated. And we observed that these highlands were used extensively. So I guess the first bit that, in terms of their utility, I think it has served the purpose, and they have been able to give that temporary shelter, or for that matter, refuge to animals, which are, they get a sudden flash flood. Having said that, there are certain areas where highlands, it seems, has created a problem in terms of a blockage of a channel, in terms of the free flow of water. But I guess that requires a sort of a, like a geospatial study and some modeling to understand that how it has blocked or not blocked, and maybe that we could eventually take up. But as of now, we are fine with these 150 sort of highlands. We are not going to construct anymore, So I guess we are there in terms of that. And that perhaps links to your question in terms of this moving landscape. I think that's a very nice concept, and the river as a whole. So, I mean, I really wonder that we know very little about these river islands, and especially in a river like Brahmaputra. And they are like forming every year. Some of them get inundated, some of them have, beautiful grasslands. The other next year they are having trees and woodlands. So this is that moving landscape, which I think is being used by the rhinos. We know that they are being used, and for some, and we need to have a sort of a conservation policy so to address that, because these are multiple use areas as well. We cannot say that we would just have only the wild animals use this, because there's a lot many of these are also used for the livestock, which we locally call as kutis. So that is something which we can look at. Very less is known, I would say, honestly, and that becomes very, very fascinating when we look at Kaziranga. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Thank you, and thank you, Dr. Sonali. Here, one another questions from our audience, Amit Sharma to Naresh Subadi, regarding it has been observed that the movement between the Situan National Park and the Balmiki Tiger Reserve has gone down, especially during the last 2 years. Would like to request Dr. Naresh if he has any observations. Dr. Naresh, please, can you address these questions, please?
Yes, thank you, Deva. I think the barrier between the two protected areas is that Triveni Gandak barrage. So if you don't have that barrage, actually that allows frequent movement. So that side is a little bit difficult for the rhino movement. Another area is from the Madi area of Chiton National Park, Madi Thori and Parsa area. So yeah, I think if the population increases in the Madi sector, then it will be a frequently movement. So I cannot pinpoint actually. So what is the level of movement in between this Balmiki and Chittagong National Park? I think we need to little bit study the movement of the rhinos across the year. To at least to whole season, what is happening in monsoon, dry, and winter season. So we can dig out about that. So right now, my observation is you have some barrier by this dam, and from that riverside, the rhino movement is obstructed by the dam, and from the Chure is the another obstacle, but there are some streams actually along these streams, they can move. So I think we need more studies to pinpoint about this movement of the animals in between these protected areas. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Naresh. And I would like to jump in another question to any of Saxony regarding the Sumatran and Javan rhinoceros. And my questions is, with such a small population, what are genetic challenges for these species, and how is the government and conservation organizations addressing them? Because this is quite a questions for the entire conservation community, rhino conservation community, for genetic related things. So can you address in these questions? You know, yeah. Can you hear me? Uh,
Thank you, Deba. It is indeed that the small population that the yeah, I can hear you. Can I? Is Are you
Yes,
finished with
yes,
your
yes.
question, Deba?
Okay, you please carry on. Yeah, already I
Can
have
you hear
already
me?
asked that genetic. Yeah, Yes, yes, yes. I hear you.
Can you hear me,
Yeah, please continue. Please continue.
Deba?
Please
Okay.
continue now.
Yeah, this is uh yeah, there is sure, yeah. Okay. Yeah, with a small population, that is true that indeed with a small population, that's sure we have the problem with the inbreeding, depression for that two kind of species that we have right now. There's a Javan rhino and then Sumatran rhino. So what we have tried right now, that is the government of Indonesia have started since 2019 until now, that we call the emergency action plan for the Sumatran rhino. We try to consolidate all the Sumatran rhino on that facility, like the Sumatran rhino sanctuary, and then we try to what you call, we try to the genetic, we try to breed the individual of rhino uh, that they have not what you call the short uh, a genetic or like a sibling or that this is very related genetic in each other. So we'll try to make a good breeding for this mutton rhino on that facility in Sumatran Rhino Sanctuary. Meanwhile, for the Javan rhino, we know that the small population can trigger the inbreeding depression as well. So we will try to the government of Indonesia now to focus on the protection for sure right now, and then we will try to continue one day to make the translocation to find the another habitat for the Javan rhino. Back to you, Deba.
Yeah, yeah, great, great, great. Yeah, nice to hear this development. Yeah, thanks enough. I would like to, before I open the question sessions, I would like to come to Dr. Talukder regarding Indian that national strategy on the rhino conservation as well as also IRB 2.0 strategy related. Can you highlight some of your thoughts on that things only? Dr. Talukder, please.
Okay, thank you. I think quickly I will go to the Indian Rhino Vision, 2020. I think that is a great, initiative the Assam government has taken during the Kaziranga centenary celebration. That has given at least few advantages because first we could capture rhinos from Povitara and Kaziranga where rhino populations are increasing and put it back into Manas because Manas lost all the population during the socio-political unrest. And by putting back rhinos into Manas, it has also enhanced the protection system because whenever there is rhino, the protection has to be 24/7. Third, I would like to state that the whole IRV 2020 exercise has built local capacity, in order to plan, capture, and execute. Unfortunately, during capture, during translocations, and during release, there is no casualties. So that has built a good, opportunities among the local conservation workers from diverse background. It has also increased awareness in the release sites, and then it has also helped, I feel, getting back the full status of a world heritage site for Manas because it was put under in danger. Rhino Ranch expansion is very crucial, especially with the availability of land which were probably a good habitat of rhinos. And as the rhino populations are increasing, I think the Rhino Ranch expansion is very important in order to keep the land for wildlife and also giving opportunities to the rhinos to build their populations. So now government of India is also on the process of initiating a rhino recovery plan. I was there along with my other colleague from Assam, Mr. Amit Sharma. So we have contributed there. That is also part of that, where the future rhino ranch can be expanded. So I think the plan is there now. I think within the rhino ranch state within within India, I think there has to be a collaboration. There are probably possibilities and opportunities and the needs as well, to probably translocate or exchange, rhinos within India or within Assam, and I think that will further enhance, the genetic variability of the rhino population.
Yeah. Thank you. And it's a great because IRV 2.0, what do we anticipate yet to take the momentum? We are expecting because with a great visions, IRV 2.0 can be asset all is objective in relation with a national rhino conservation strategy. So I would like to open these discussions for any questions from all of my respected audience. Please, this is right now open for all of my audience. Please, one by one, we can take only 3-4 questions for the panelists. Yeah, over to all rounds. It's open for all. Thank you.
There is one more question in the chat, Deba. It's for Mr. Naresh, I think.
Yes, I
Yes,
guess.
one questions here. Yeah, there is.
Yeah, I can respond that. Sure, yes. There are right now 2 rhinos. They come into the town in Saura area. So one of them was actually raised by when it was orphan. It was raised and released into the jungle. It grew up, but still loves to come back into the town. So that's the Megauli Bale. And then another is Madi Bale. So there are 2 frequent visitors in Saura area. So they are used to with the human settlement. So this is one reason. Another reason why they come into the farmland or in the fringe area of the park is when they get old. Another aggressive rhino, actually dominant male, chase them, and they, this push them towards the, towards the edge of the forest, and they love to come into the farmland. So these are some reasons. Furthermore, we can discuss actually.
Yeah, thanks, Naresh. I have seen the Lucy also here, Lucy Vigne in these discussions. Can you hear Lucy, and can you highlight your thoughts, something for this entire audience? Yeah, over to you, Lucy, please.
Yes, thank you very much. It's all very interesting. I was writing a question in the chat, which I can read to you, and it's about the rhinos in Indonesia. Can eggs and sperm be frozen for the future as a safety net to from lessons learnt from Malaysia losing all its Sumatran rhinos, and to learn from the lessons from the northern white rhino in Africa, from losing them and not saving eggs and sperm in time?
Yes, we did for the Sumatran rhino, Lucy. We did for the Sumatran rhino. We have been collected the sperm and an egg for the Sumatran rhino right now because we have the facility of the Sumatran rhino sanctuary. In addition, we have already collected the sperm and the egg as well. The Sumatran rhino sperm when was what's it called still in the U.S. at the time. So all the collection of the sperm now collected in the San Diego Zoo. So I mean, right in Indonesia, we did it. And then some of these, what's it called, the exercise that the Dr. Thomas Halderbrand from Germany, probably you know that they have been trying to collect it, all the semen collection and sperm and egg in Indonesia. But not for the Javan rhino yet.
Yeah.
For the Javan rhino, someday.
Yeah.
But do we have time?
Yeah, thank you enough because already using time. Yeah, Thank you, Lucy. Because already it is we are end of the discussions. I
Thank you.
would like to request Dr. Sunali to the vote of thanks for the entire our panelists as well as also entire audience with a Dr. Sunali, please.
Yeah, no, thank you so much, and sorry to cut the people out in terms of time, because we are trying this out for the first time using the IUC and Engage platform, and we had some technical issues, and of course, I must thank the wonderful team of Ms. Amrita Menon, who is a young professional working with WCPA, and then of course Dr. Debo Datta, who along with the Asian Specialist Rhino group and the SSC has been able to successfully conduct this. Of course, our speakers and our audience, we had a very small 2-minute video to end this. Amrita, if you could start playing it and I can then stop on it. Otherwise, it's fine. We look forward to continuing this dialogue in terms of engaging, especially on the Asian rhinos. I would love to have, I mean, for me, it was wonderful hearing Dr. Naresh and Dr. Ainde, and I think it's a great learning. So, over to you, Amrita, before we say goodbye to play the video. Thank you.
Sure, Dr. Sonali. I'll just play the video. Just please tell me if it is audible. Otherwise, I will have to check the settings really quickly.
Yeah, you are audible. Audible. Please
Yeah.
play the video.
Okay,
Oh,
the audio is not there, but that's fine because it doesn't really have any it's just music. So I think we just play it and close it. Yeah.
Amrita, please play the video.
I think it's on a loop after that, Dr. Sonali. Hello?
Uh, yeah, it's not playing. So in that case, I think we just end it, maybe, because it's
I
not playing.
the video didn't play because it was playing over here.
Oh,
I didn't realize.
I
Do you
think,
want me to try
yeah,
once more? Or
yeah, yeah. Just try it again because it just disappeared after the first 2 seconds.
is it visible now?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Please play it. Yeah.
I hope it's playing.
Yeah. No, thank you there, Amrita, for this. And it didn't have the music, but it was playing. So thank you so much. And Debo, I think over to you, and I think we should end it, right? Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Sonali, and thank all my dear panelists and audience. And it is a quite a fruitful discussions, and hopefully look forward to meet you again. And I will look forward also your future any kind of suggestions regarding this. And thank you, and good night to all everyone. Thanks.